your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube, X, Roku, and Fire TV. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. It's a Friday in the studio, which means we are going to hit all of the sports, as we call it on this show, a sports charcuterie board, starting in the NFL, heading to the NBA, finishing in Major League Baseball, and of course, touching on the Final Four, or what we call on a Friday, what you watching?
Day?
No, that's not it.
What you watching?
There it is. So you can join in on the action at youtube.com/12OZ Sports or x.com/12OZ Sports. And you just head to the comments section right there, hit or type in, whatever you want to say, then hit send. And bang, we get it on the back end and we can have a nice conversation during the show. If you don't want to do that, follow the social media, The Rome Show 1 or 12OZ Sports. That's The Rome Show, then the number 1 or the number 12 Sports. Okay, ounce. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You know the drill. All right, let's get into it. National Football League is where we start. And extensions are where we go. First in Las Vegas, because recently acquired quarterback Geno Smith has signed a contract extension with the Las Vegas Raiders, 2 years, $75 million, when Geno Smith was traded for by the Las Vegas Raiders. He had 1 year remaining on his deal. So this essentially puts Geno Smith in Las Vegas for 3 more years or through the 2027 season. Since 2022, when Geno Smith was named the full-time starter of the Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith is 3rd in starts at 49, 4th in completion percentage at 68%, and 4th in total passing yards during that time at 12,226. Over the course of Geno Smith's 11-year career, he's passed for 19,143 yards. He arguably had one of his best statistical seasons in Seattle, breaking the Seahawks franchise record in passing yards completion percentage last year with 4,320 passing yards and a 70.4 completion percentage. While in Seattle, the Seahawks went 27-22 with 2 playoff appearances, and he was named to 2 Pro Bowls. Geno Smith was drafted by the New York Jetropolitans. So essentially that means don't hold anything against him that happened in the first 4 years of his career. The Jets drafted him in the first round out of West Virginia. By the way, fun fact about Geno Smith that I don't know if anybody out there remembers, but I remember this. Eli Manning was at like 213 consecutive starts for the New York Football Giants. The year after Geno Smith was released by the Jets, he was the backup quarterback for the Giants. And the New York Giants benched Eli Manning during the course of his like 200-plus day consecutive start streak for a one Geno Smith. Yeah, that is right. So when you go to the local bowling alley or watering hole and you're hitting trivia night and that trivia question pops out, Geno Smith, that is the quarterback that ended Eli Manning's consecutive starts streak. Crazy, right? What was that head coach's name? Crazy looking cat. I think he took him to the playoffs and then got fired the next year. He was their offensive coordinator in that time period after Tom Coughlin. You had the Pat Shurmurs of the world, that dude that was the special teams coordinator for the Patriots. So what a time. What a time it's been the last 12 years to be a Giants fan. We continue on this Friday with the Cardinals. That is Arizona Cardinals. We stay in the National Football League, where they extended tight end Trey McBride. They gave him a 4-year, $76 million contract extension. $43 million of that is guaranteed. Trey McBride now becomes the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. And if at first glance you say, why? Well, at first glance, I tell you, great decision by the Cardinals. First and foremost, he has clearly been a very comfortable safety net and weapon, both for Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. That is a team that is trending. Trey McBride has helped that team trend. I believe every quarterback needs a great tight end, and I don't think that there are more than a handful, okay, maybe 10 in the league that every team should lock up for extensive years, okay? And Trey McBride's one of those dudes. Since joining the league in 2022, he's 4th in receptions at 221, and he's 4th in yards at 2,236. However, those two statistics are the most by a tight end through their first 3 years in the league. So the Arizona Cardinals definitely got their guy to finish. He has 63 receiving first downs, 1,146 receiving yards, 111 receptions on 148 targets during the 2024 season. He had 71.6 receiving yards per game, and 513 of those receiving yards were yak yards, or yards after the catch, which shows you he ain't afraid to go right into the muck of it, and you need dogs like that when you are in the National Football League. I got one more for you, then we move on. Trey McBride's the first Arizona Cardinal tight end since 1970. Yeah, that's right. Jackie Smith in 1970 to be named to the Pro Bowl. So that will show you how important this lockup was for the Arizona Cardinals. It's the Rome Show. It's Friday. We're on 12-ounce sports. I want to remind you, you can get in on the action, youtube.com/12OZ sports, or go to X, and you can comment live on the show. We are talking all the sports today, where we finish the show by telling you what we are watching this weekend. Let's head to the NBA, where Carmelo Anthony was elected first ballot to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony played 19 seasons in the National Basketball Association. You probably remember him the most for the time he spent in Denver, the first 6 to 8 years of his career, and then the time he spent in New York for 5 or 6 years. Carmelo Anthony, first ballot Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 3-time gold medalist. Carmelo Anthony is 3rd all-time on USA Basketball's Olympic score or scoring list, and he is only one of 3 players in the history of USA Basketball to amass 300 or more points while playing for USA Basketball. That list includes Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. Carmelo, during his career, averaged 22.5 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game. Carmelo Anthony stacks 12th all-time on the all-time points list. Very well deserving for Carmelo Anthony. I saw something yesterday. We're not going to get fully into this, but what a great debate about the number 15s in Denver, right? Because arguably, based on the history of the Denver Nuggets franchise, obviously bringing a championship and 3 MVPs and essentially being the best player in the league for, in my opinion, at least now, 4 straight years almost. There's no doubt Nikola Jokic is the best player in Denver Nuggets history and that his number 15 goes on the rafters. But Carmelo Anthony is now a first ballot Hall of Famer. And yes, during that time in Denver, he had the Nuggets on the map for what they were at that time. And if you remember, Allen Iverson was balling a little bit with Carmelo on those Nuggets teams. So do you retire both when Joker's done with this career? Do you put both number 15s up in the Raptor? I think you should. A debate we can get into at a later date. Let's continue on in the National Basketball Association. Something that Nikola Jokic did for the first time in the history of the NBA happened this year. 30 points, 30 points, 20 rebounds, 20 assists. Okay. That was the first time somebody had 30 plus points and 20 assists this season. The second time happened last night when another big man, top 5, top 10 player in the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he did something last night that's literally never been done before on a full scale, which is 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 20 assists. First time that stat line's ever been finished with in the NBA, but the second time that somebody's finished with 30 points and 20 rebounds, 20 assists this season. Some ridiculous numbers from some of the best players in the National Basketball Association. Actually, I lied. That's the third player with 30 points and 20 assists in a game this season. Finally, LSU guard Flau'jae Johnson has decided to forego the WNBA draft to stay and use her final year of eligibility in college. Now, this is not the first player that has decided to do this. You are seeing this more and more and more across college athletics. Am I going to make more money playing 2 more years at the college ranks than I'm going to in minor league baseball, right? The WNBA. If I'm not a top 15 pick in the NBA, if I'm a sixth round draft pick in the National Football League, okay? What's better? Should I stay in college or should I go to the pro ranks? And if you look at all the conversation that was centered around Caitlin Clark when she left Iowa last year, when all was said and done, you started breaking down her contract in the WNBA and you started breaking down the amount of money she was making on NIL. You're almost like, I get that you broke all these records. I get that you've pretty much done everything you need to do in college, but you're probably going to make more money staying 1 more year and having the Iowa sweater across your chest. Because though you got to figure out going to school for another year, and though there's a certain point where you feel like you've done everything you needed to do, you are a greater generating dollar sign in college as a great player than you are as a rookie in a lot of these leagues. A lot of these top players with the NIL in college are making that much more money than the rookie at the pro ranks. And you have to make a real decision. And Flau'jae Johnson and others are starting to make that decision to say, why would I forego all this eligibility and all these millions? Because I am not Caitlin Clark or Breanna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu, who has all of these Nike deals. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Flau'jae probably is. She's got a lot of NILs, but the point is, once you get to that next level, half it's your contract, Half it's your endorsement deals. Half it's what you're doing off the court, field, ice, whatever. So if you feel like your portfolio is deeper in college than it is at the pro level, especially in your sport, like the WNBA, where the contracts aren't as great, I would make this decision too. Everybody should make this decision. And that is why you now, in 10 years, are going to look at college, especially Division I, Power 4 conferences, and you're going to say, that is the first level of professional sports. It used to be high school, college, then get drafted. Now, essentially, it's high school. You have to enter the first level of pro sports. Are you a D1 pro sport athlete, a D2 pro sport athlete, or a D3 amateur athlete? Which level are you? And then you enter the second realm of professional sports, which now you have to make a business decision because not every sport is treated equally. Why? The baseball player will forego his last year in college because that dude can make a lot of money comparative to a lot of other sports. Why the WNBA player wouldn't is because she'll make more money in college. Kai the goalie writes in, gotta retire 15 for Melo and Jokic. I completely agree. He also writes, if I'm making money in college, I'm staying instead of going to the PLL or the NLL. He is talking about the professional lacrosse leagues right there, and that's a great example. If I'm a Division I lacrosse player at Carolina, at Duke, at Hopkins, at Syracuse, at any of these top-level lacrosse schools, no doubt in my mind, I'm exhausting every ounce of eligibility I have, especially if I'm an NIL generating Division I lacrosse player. Hell yeah. I'm trying to get 5 years out of that, right? That is a prime example right there. Thank you, Kai, the goalie. We will take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Major League Baseball and... No, I messed it up again.
What you watching?
And I promise after the commercial break, I'll get that sounder right. It's Andrew. It's you, the listener. It's the Rome Show on 12 Ounce Sports. We're back after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com, YouTube, X, Roku, Fire TV. I mean, honestly, it's on you. I mean, seriously, it's on you if you can't find the Rome Show. And it's on you if you haven't shared it with a friend. You know, I have a lot of people ask me, you know, because in theory, I guess it's not in theory, it's in fact. In fact, my full-time job is as a head baseball coach, okay? And the coaching world is weird, especially at the Division III level, because in theory, as we've had this discussion before, Division III athletics is the foundation of college athletics. It is the footprint of the amount of kids playing college sports. So much of that percentage is made up in Division III. However, every institution in America that is Division III, for some reason, does not value the coach as much as they should value the coach, because most D3 institutions are only still standing because they have sports. So not a lot of D3 coaches are paid very well. Okay. So that's just a fact of what we're dealing with. So we do the Rome show here to continue to build, as I said before, the portfolio. That would be mine. Okay. So a lot of coaches, we have to work multiple jobs. So a lot of times these guys will text me, those full-time coaches don't have to work multiple jobs. And the first thing I send them is the link to the Rome show. And I say, really? Because at 7:00 in the morning, Monday through Friday on 12ouncesports.com, you can listen to this beautiful voice and you can see that I am not just a baseball coach. I am multiple things in this portfolio. So if you enjoy the 7 a.m., get up with the kid, then you got to share it with a friend. And if it ain't the 12-ounce sports links, it is the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Kai, the goalie, team's doing way better than the Braves right now, okay? Not up to the standards of Coach Romo every day, but we are getting there. I got to be honest with you. We're in the second weekend of conference play right now. We are in the midst of a 3-game series. We are 1-1 right now as we lost 1-1 yesterday. And you get into the middle of conference play, it means you're at your halfway point, kind of coming down the stretch. I got to be honest with you. In a truth vacuum, I'm super proud. I am super proud. In a coaching truth serum vacuum, there's a lot that we got to get better at. But Kai, I'm pumped about the squad. We have a lot to get better at, but we are, at least I believe, trending in the right direction. So when you go home later, you're driving home from work, you're thinking about let me throw some few extra pairs up there, throw them up for the Clones so we can get that series victory today. The Dodgers, they're getting series victories and game victories every single day. They are now 8-0. The Los Angeles Dodgers are, and that is reckless abandonment. We all knew that they were going to be a really good baseball team. But this team's going to be tough to beat. It just feels like every night there's a new arm on the mound. Every 9-man lineup that Dave Roberts writes, whether it's the same team as the night before or not, can rake. And when you look at it, you say to yourself, okay, in baseball, you usually don't have favorites like this. Like, you have favorites and you have teams that you believe are obviously better than others. But this is a year where it almost feels like the New England Patriots dynasty from 2000 to 2020. Like, it feels like that right now, where if you were a member of the AFC East during that time, you just didn't expect to win it because the Patriots were that good. That's the Dodgers right now. They only have one problem: Freddie Freeman in the shower. Freddie Freeman slipped in the shower, hurt his surgically repaired ankle, and is now on the IL. So I got to be honest with you. I think a lot of fans would take 8-0, and though Freddie Freeman's important to the team, a quick 15-day IL stint because he fell in the shower, I think you can live with that. So things are good in Los Angeles. The Oakland Athletics, who are now the Sacramento Athletics, who will soon be the Las Vegas Athletics, they got a new clubhouse. And I got to tell you, go check this thing out, because in the minor league stadium they're playing in right now, the A's upgraded the clubhouse and the suite areas and whatever for the players. And I got to be honest with you, though they're playing in a AAA stadium, I bet this team is actually happier than they were for the last however amount of time each individual's played at the Coliseum in Oakland. That place was a dump. The Coliseum was terrible. And now you got this beautiful clubhouse, beautiful amenities for their players, a way more beautiful field. And you're thinking to yourself, what? The A's might have actually gotten better by moving out of their stadium. So if I'm a player over the next 2 or 3, 4, 5 years, I'm looking at the Athletics, because then they're going to move into this state-of-the-art, awesome, beautiful facility in Las Vegas. Yeah, I'm in on that. So good on the Oakland A's. They're finally figuring it out, and a lot of that has to do with leaving Oakland. But I think that's less about the town of Oakland and more about the stadium they were playing in. St. Pete's has displaced the Tampa Bay Rays, much like the Athletics. They're playing in a minor league stadium, George M. Steinbrenner Stadium in Tampa, Florida, which is owned by the New York Yankees. However, good news has come out of Tampa, where St. Pete's has been told they must, essentially based on their contractual obligations, spend money to fix the Tropicana roof, which was ruined in the hurricanes over the summer. The town will pay about $22.5 million, and so will the team. It's roughly a $56 million project, but that roof is going to begin getting fixed. So I don't know how long that takes, but Tampa Bay might not be displaced for an insane amount of time. And finally, Ketel Marte has signed a contract extension with the Arizona Diamondbacks, 6 years, $116.5 million. Ketel Marte has been with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and last year slashed a 292 line, 372 on base, 560 slugging with 36 homers, and played 136 games for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's a really good decision by the franchise. This year he's hitting 320. And in his career, he has 1,145 hits. He has spent time not just with the Arizona Diamondbacks, but started his career in Seattle. So first 2 years in Seattle, next like 8 in Arizona, and he has now been rewarded with a contract extension. And I think that is a great play by the Diamondbacks. Over the last 4 seasons, he's had 3 or more where he's hitting 270 or more. That's a great number. And Arizona, watch out. Could be a sleeper in the NL. Finally, last segment of the day. Let's get it right.
What you watching?
Yeah, that's right. What we watching is the Final Four. Come on now. You knew that. We got the Final Four on tomorrow. Game number 1, Auburn at Florida. Let's go SEC matchup. Florida's favored in this game by 2.5. And then we have at night, Duke versus Houston. In that contest, Duke is favored by 5.5. I'm going to stay with the trends here. I'm going to take Florida at the minus 2.5, and I am going to take Duke at the minus 5.5. It's been a favorites tournament, and Andrew's going with the favorites. I guess you can call those the banana. That's right. You can call them the banana picks, and you can call that the Rome show, not just for the day, but for the week. You go have yourself a great Friday. Kai the goalie, I got the Gators. Don't you worry, bro. We'll see everybody on Monday. You have a fantastic weekend. Be electric. And Andrew Romanella saying peace.
Thank you for listening.